And so I've met several people and who think or are curious, or that have had like professors and things tell them that the Sufis in America aren't real Sufis or traditional Sufis, or they don't know what they're talking about. They just kind of call themselves Sufis.
That's perhaps always a danger in America anyway, because if you ask, for example, indigenous people, they'll say that Westerners are lost souls because they don't walk around with their ancestors. It's like Western people don't really spend time to know who they are, and so they kind of walk around alone, wandering, and have a tendency to grab onto the traditions of other cultures and appropriate them. So big interest for people who don't have Native American blood and Native American traditions. Big interest for people in all kinds of traditions that aren't from their particular family or tribe. The difficulty is if you've lost the medicine of your tribe, if you've lost the magical and mystical practices of your people, how are you going to get them back? What are you going to do? You've got to start somewhere. So I was actually very fortunate because I had a teacher of indigenous magic and medicine, a man named Jürgen Kramer, who was out of the California Institute of Integral Studies many years ago, and he put me on the path of how to approach indigenous people to help me reclaim lost knowledge from my people. And that happened before I met the Sufi teachers. Now I do have one lineage which is partially Anatolian, so that might explain that. I have Middle Eastern ancestry that goes all the way back and beyond that to the Holy Land, and that also explains a lot, like why I'm a Sufi in the genetic imprint sense. During the height of the Islamic Empire in the Iberian Peninsula, that was the heart of the empire, and the Moors and the Jews lived together for some 200 years in complete harmony. There was blooming cultural advances and mathematical advances, philosophical advances. The Kabbalah was written down, and there were 7 generations of Jewish Sufi sheikhs at that time. And now we have, interestingly enough, we have some Jewish Sufi teachers. So my teacher, his teacher, and I were all of that descent. So is that a coincidence, or does it just happen? So what I'm saying is that to answer your question, it's 2 levels. One is it an appropriation? And I think individuals have to come to their own terms with that, how they handle it. I take it pretty seriously to be respectful of other traditions and to understand the lineages. Another way of saying it is the tradition changing? Is it evolving? Well, Hazrat Inayat Khan came from India with Sufism in the turn of the 20th century. And what he said is that the message would always change and evolve as long as it was alive, and to not change his words. Write your own if you needed to, but don't change his. Because we have to understand that this is not about the individual. It's about the message that comes from the infinite to help humanity evolve, to help the consciousness of humanity to evolve. So that message is going to change. So the practices are going to change. And that is happening. And personally, my teacher, Shahabuddin, said that my work here is to create new forms out of the infinite. So I develop new practices, new ways of practice. I'm part of that evolving edge of Sufism and spiritual development and da-da-da-da-da. And so I could easily be called someone who's not real or untraditional. And I would say untraditional for sure. However, as I have often said to young people in our tradition, I am not anything goes, Miss Loosey-Goosey. Study the ancient traditions and have your roots in them deeply, and you can then create something for the future. But if you're just running around spitting on all of the wisdom of the ancestors, then you're not grounded. And I really think that's an important distinction. Look at you yourself. You're very independent. You spend a great deal of time in study and inquiry about the people who went before you, and about ancient and traditional ways, and about modern ways of thinking, and you're slowly culling together your own ideas and your own involvement, and where you feel your authentic place. This is what I'm hearing from you, yeah? And this is the real thing. This is the connection, because we're at a time when new forms need to be born, and we have to ask these questions. And hopefully what comes through will be honoring of the past and will speak to the generations to come for the next 100 years. That's what we're doing. So,
yeah. What are some things, I guess, I was going to ask what you do for fun, but it kind of seems like you study and learn and do art. Like everything
I play
you do,
music.
Right, everything you do for fun is your life. So you're in the category of people that has created what you're interested in, what you like to do as a living. So it's a good...
I guess, yeah.
It's like a dream spot to be for a lot of people. I've been asking younger people, like if they had dreams or ambitions or what their ideal scenario would be. And so you've had a significant life up until now. Have you been living your dream, or the dreams that you had when you were younger? Have you followed through on them? Is there something you would like to see?
I still have work to do. I think I would be gone if I didn't, right? I would be done. But yes, I think I have mostly followed my heart. I think there have been a few times in my life where I've done what I thought was the right thing to do despite what my spirit wanted. And those times were very difficult. They were important lessons because I'm a very disciplined person, and I'm capable of a fair amount of self-denial and of harnessing myself to something that's not necessarily fun for me. And I think that there's a lot of belief in our culture. I mean, you could say that there's an obsession with immediate gratification, but there's a deep message in our culture that if you're a grown-up, that you just do what's right. And that's not actually healthy. I mean, we have a very high incidence of heart disease in this country because of people doing what they think they should do rather than honoring their hearts. There's a lot of theories about that. I once was at a conference that said that more American people died of heart attacks between 8 and 9 a.m. Monday morning than any other time. This does not say a lot about our work week. I just recently heard on NPR that this country works more hours than any other country in the world.
Even Japan?
Mm-hmm. We need to cultivate a little more of a European consciousness here. People need to rest more. They need to take more vacations. They need to spend more time in repose. There's a loss of spiritual health from that. Oh, that's the bread.
And the bread's
Sorry.
right.
Yeah.
Well, is there anyone you'd like to say hi to?
Hi, Kat.
And
hi, Mom.
Can I publish this on my website?
Yes, you can
Okay.
publish this on your website. Oh, and Shahabadin, if you're watching.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.